Today I have a special somebody in my studio. Very, very gifted, um, very multifaceted, and she's going to tell her story herself. She's going to tell her music story herself. Ruthie, welcome to my studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Great. Wow. So let's start from your upbringing. Let's start from where you were born, how it was growing up.
Right. So my name is Ruth Boating, and I'm fondly called Ruthie. And Boat, which comes with the Ruthie, is a short of my father's name, which is Boating, so Ruthie Boat. I am a singer. I write. I like to think of myself as a musician or an artistic person. I was born in Kaduna State in Nigeria, and I grew up there, came to Ghana when I was 17 years. I'm second of four children, and I'm a Christian. I think that's okay for an introduction.
Wow. So how was it like growing up in Nigeria?
God, I get that question a lot. I mean, in the 90s, it was cool, not so bad until I think 2000s, and then Nigeria, well, north of Nigeria, became a little bit dicey to stay in for some people, and you'd hear news here and there. But growing up was, generally speaking, safe. In the home where I was raised, my dad was a pastor and a headmaster. I always say, I don't know, a more stricter combination, but yes, my dad was a pastor and a headmaster, and we grew up by ourselves. Very nucleated family. It was school, church, home, school, church, home. There wasn't much of going anywhere around. And my dad was a hard worker, my mom same, but my mom was mostly home raising us. And I would say she is a pastor as well, because she has always been in Sunday school. She had a good news club. I don't know if you know a good news club, but it's like a club. A few children. She gathers us around and she teaches us Bible stories. And then she has biscuits and toffees. So there was always the word of God in the house, and there was always the opportunity to study, because most of what we would get would be books. So yeah, that's the kind of home I was raised in.
Was it a strict home?
Yeah, I would say it was a strict home, because I mean, a home where you don't get to watch TV and stuff is pretty strict. My parents defined very strict boundaries and made us understand that you can't step out of this at all. Like, we tried here and there. Kids, we live for stretching outside the boundary to see what will happen. Yes, but we were raised within very defined boundaries. And in that time, it looked like wickedness. But with how it has protected our minds, to be honest, I'm very grateful now, having come to the point where I understand what we consume from outside, from the screen and all that, all those and how they can affect us. I'm so grateful to my mom and dad, to God, because he made it happen. For those strict boundaries that they set around us really helped. Yeah.
Wow. So, was your family a music oriented family? Like any of your parents sing or got involved in music?
Oh Lord.
Or
My
anything
mom.
arts?
My mom. Oh yes, definitely. My dad was a writer. He wrote quite a number of books. He was
Okay.
very academic, and He wrote poetry,
Wow.
which I do. And so, yes, he was artistic in that sense, but voice for girls, please, please. It was that bad. I mean, I still have memories of he singing, and I'm like, hey, you're ready. But yeah, my dad, no, not music, but absolutely genius when it comes to writing.
Wow.
Yes, my mom, she grew up singing. She was an altar singer and in the Methodist choir. So
Okay.
yes, she sings quite well. And I have two sisters. They both sing. The only
Okay.
person who doesn't really sing like my dad is my brother. So I don't know if that passes for musical family, but it's a 50-50
It's a good
thing.
balance.
Yes. Yeah,
Wow.
that was it.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. Wow. So, okay, so your mom is Nigerian, your dad is Ghanaian.
No, I'm
Both,
Ghanaian. Both
okay, but
parents
they
are
were living
Ghanaian.
in Nigeria.
Yes, it's
Oh,
just
okay.
birth that, you know,
Okay.
impressed a
Interesting.
bit of Nigerian
Nigerian.
socialization on me, but
Oh, okay.
both parents are Ghanaians.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I get it now. Wow. I thought maybe one was Nigerian, one was Ghanaian.
No.
That's all I've thought all along.
Yeah.
Interesting. So do you remember the first time you you had the opportunity to sing as a child or as an adult? I don't know.
As a
As a
child,
child.
because but daddy's a pastor, mommy's Sunday school teacher. Definitely, I was always involved in everything, children's this, children's that. I was involved, but I liked the memory verses more. I liked to
Okay.
memorize and go on stage and rattle on. I didn't do so much of singing, even though I did sing. I think I don't know why exactly, but I think I was just more confident in saying the verses,
Okay.
memorizing and then saying the Bible verses. When it came to acting, singing and all those other ones, I think they were way too expressive for
Okay.
me. I would just stand and say the Bible verses and pass the mic, and then I'm silent again. But the singing, you have to, oh, and I'm like, oh no. I was a little bit shy. I would
Okay.
want to be at the back, even though every time I would be dragged forward.
Okay.
Yes. And so I didn't sing much, but I was always involved in, stage stuff. And so singing, if I would say the point where I became aware that, oh, you can actually sing was when I came to Ghana. Yes.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Wow. So was that just before uni or
Yes, just before uni.
wow. Interesting. That was when you became aware that you
Yes,
could
I'm
sing.
for real. I didn't know or think, no one really pointed out that, oh, she probably had, no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you were involved in singing, but you thought, okay, well, I'm just doing it for children's
Yeah,
service or
everybody's
something.
singing. Me too, I'm singing. That was it.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow. Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. So about your dad, how much influence do you think he had on becoming who you are today?
Oh my God. I don't know how you want me. Are you going to let me give you in percentage or?
Whichever way you want to.
I mean, a lot. I mean, he's influenced me a lot. I, I didn't figure out my dad so much. I didn't figure him out. I don't know if that makes sense, but I know that I loved him very dearly. He didn't talk much. He was a man of few words, and he didn't talk much. And I didn't talk much too. I don't talk much, but but there was this bond, and I knew that there's a bond, but I didn't know what it was. But funny enough, God just has a way of doing his things. I look the most like my dad. My mom, even today, would look at me and say, how do you just look like him like that? Like he gave birth to you alone. And I would usually be the one to serve him. My mom would call me I would always be the one to serve him. And I just loved him so much. And I mean, of course, I still do, even though he's gone to be with the Lord. But everything that he was, when I look at myself today, I am that. Everything. So I think that, God did a wonderful job in transferring some form of legacy from my dad through to me. So there's a very big influence, I must say.
So talking about what he does that you do,
Yes.
can you expand on that? Even though I'm aware of some of them, but expand on that.
Well, he was very passionate about God. I think he's influenced me in more ways than I can even articulate right now, but he's very passionate about God. He really desired to know God himself, and he would literally leave everything to pursue that.
Wow.
And I don't want to say that's how I feel. That's what I have come to believe life should be about. Because if I would build anything else, I would want to build it the way God says. And if I don't get close enough to him, then I would not know. And so, yes, pursuit of God and desire to know him on a very high level personally, that I saw with my dad. And I sincerely desire that. Academics, or I should say education. This is the next thing my dad was passionate about. Before he passed on, he had a vision to come to Ghana and start a school and support young people who were in his hometown in Kokofu, in Ashanti region, who he always had in mind. He kept, my mom says he would always talk about these young people that some of them were so brilliant, and he would use himself as an example that if he had someone to support him, he wouldn't be where he is. Even though we thought, oh, he's done great with his life, he always knew that he could have been something bigger if he got the support that he needed. And so he would always talk about going back to the village, starting a school that is intensive and intentional in transforming young people. Now, I got to know of this after I started my school. So when I started the school, my mom called me and asked me why would you leave construction and do this? And I started to tell her what God had been telling me and the burden on my heart. And she was like, you're just like your father. Like, how? Then she started telling me that, did you know that he had planned to come start a school? And I'm like, I wouldn't have known. He doesn't tell me anything. It's you he'll tell. But then, yeah, so when I look at what my mom says about him and even what I saw, excellent spirit, excellence, that's what my dad always represented in academia and in education. He was always for that. And that's another thing on my heart. It's everything after God. I think that the next thing is putting in the mind of a person what to think and how to think, and that's education. Whether it's formal, informal, non-formal, special, however it is, that's education. So, and it's the next thing I'm passionate about after the pursuit of God.
Wow.
So yes, there's that too. And I think a little bit of the ability to write came from my dad because he wrote poetry. I love poetry. I write poetry, and yes, I think it's just the singing. Everything else was like that inspired. The singing part, he loved music. So he had a friend who he was so excited about because she had a beautiful voice, so she could sing. So it's like, this woman sings so beautifully. And it's that one thing that I don't know how to do. So he always supported her, even until he passed. They were very good friends. She's a musician in Nigeria. So yes, that I would say, yes.
That's loaded, actually. That's loaded. You're talking about letter writing, but I know it's not letter writing.
Oh.
Wow, so you mentioned you were into construction.
Yes.
So, okay. So professionally, that's what you were trained to do, right?
Yes.
So professionally, tell us about that aspect.
Right. I studied at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and I studied construction technology and management. So That's my background when it comes to profession. And when I completed, the normal kind of life, you go to university, do your national service, you get a job. So yes, of course, I got a job in construction, working in different capacities. My first job, I think for about 3 years, yes, about 3 years, I was both a QS and a construction manager on site.
Wow.
So I would do all the bills, I would put up the documents, and then I'll go on site and also
Wow.
supervise. So yeah, it was quite intense. And as we climbed up the ladder, I became a bit more specified. And I was a junior QS under senior QS at the next place that I worked in. And in 2019, my mom was still in Nigeria at that time, so I went during one of the Christmas times. I went to be with her for a few weeks. And during that time, I was on a retreat and I was praying to God, because at the end of the day, I always felt deep within me that there was more to life for me than just waking up, going to build someone's house and come back, and going to build this hospital and come back, going to renovate. I mean, I'm like, to what end? I just couldn't, it didn't make so much sense to me. So I was praying for clarity and praying for direction. And the Spirit of God was helping me. And I was, at that retreat, I got a clear understanding of what the purpose for my life is and what I will be using the rest of my life for. And from that moment, I remember, I remember even at that point, a relationship was at stake, and it had to end, because once I became clear where I'm going, I knew that, this has to shift, this has to shift. I'm not going to let anything get in the way of where I'm going. Now that I have a clear understanding, I mean, if you're living your life and you don't really know, you're just trying everything because you have to be attached to something, plus you have to make ends meet in one way or the other, you would carry on things that sometimes are not necessary, and you might lose things that are supposed to stay. But I didn't want to shadow box. I needed God to lead me, at least this one thing, the entire purpose for my life, so that I know what to apply my time and resources to. And when I got that clarity, that was it for me. From 2020, my prayers changed, my direction changed, my decisions, my choices, everything changed. Because everything I'm going to do now is hinged on what God has told me about my life. And so when I returned in 2020, because it was during Christmas, and we entered the new year in Nigeria, and then 2020, January, I returned to Ghana and I started praying for time and a smooth leaving of construction. Then COVID came and I'm like, thank you. Yeah, that was very smooth for me. It helped me shift from construction very nicely. And I had time to sit down and write down structures and start working on what God had told me and where the work He wants me to do, pretty much for the rest of my life. The whole thing is definitely not known, but the underlying purpose or goal or mission for my life, I'm quite clear. Yeah.
Wow. That's some heavy duty leadership academy.
Pressure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you ended a relationship.
Yes.
Wow. When you got the clarity of where you are heading.
Yes.
How was that episode for you?
Well, it was already shaky.
Okay.
But I was trying to hold on to it, right? Because for me, my understanding was this was my person. That's what I thought. Now, what made me know that, it's actually not my person was the vision, or should I say the purpose? Because now I know what I'm doing. I'm like, then why am I here? I'm not supposed to be here. So I just kind of dropped it. I'm like, of course, it was not easy, but it was necessary. And I'd rather go with that than ease.
Wow. Interesting. So by that time, the 2019, 2020, were you releasing songs? Had you?
2020. I think I've released songs every year from 2016.
Wow.
Yes, a single every year from 2016.
Wow. Wow. So okay, let's backtrack to KNUST.
Okay.
So you were in KNUST for
Construction technology and
construction, yeah,
management.
construction technology and management.
Yes.
Wow. Then you became a QS. But in KNUST, how was your musical journey like?
Right. So that's when I got the chance to actually sing. Like, so like I said, I didn't have any, registered knowledge in my frame of reference, like very conk one that, oh, you can sing, you should join a group or something. No, not at all. So in first year, 2009, yes, 2009, I had gotten into KNUST. I was with my sister in Africa Hall. She came earlier than me, and she had joined Pensa, which is the Pentecost students on campus. And of course, she was my older sister, so I immediately just joined her there. And one day, something they do very well is visitation. The team of executives or something came to visit. They were visiting all the Pensa members. At that time, I had not decided what church I wanted to be because we didn't have church in Ghana. And I didn't know where to go to. And I wanted more meaning. I just don't want to pick things. I want meaning to stuff. And so the executives came to visit my sister. And I was at the balcony. If you know Africa Hall, there's a small balcony there where you cook your stuff. Yeah, I was there and I was singing. But they came to visit her, so they were in the room. And I think the music director or the music and drama president of the time, Robert, I remember his name, Robert Phoebe, and Emmanuel Osei Mensah, I think. They said, who is that? And my sister said it was my sister. And they're like, is she in Pensa? And she said, oh, she would come. It's like, okay, you have to join King's Praise. You have to call me. When you come, this is the day we're having rehearsal. Come and show me that you've come. And I'm like, But that was it.
Wow.
So I went for the rehearsal. And from that day, they gave me a song to sing. I was shaking,
What
my
song
God.
was it?
So they were preparing for this program that they do annually called
Drama praise.
Drama Praise. Oh my God, thank you. And they gave me a song, just one line. It was, God, whose song was it? But the song was Psalm 23. And I was just singing a line, like two lines. And my God, every time my heart is pounding. And they would tease me, but they were the reasons why I got confidence in the fact that, oh, I have a voice that can be heard, because I was never really told that. I wasn't aware. I just thought that everyone has a voice, everyone has a sound, okay, And so, so they introduced me to the choir. They would give me songs. They would push me, even when my knees are knocking against each other, they would say, sing, lead it. And
Wow.
that's how it started for me.
Wow, that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
And I think I remember years ago at the same drama praise, another edition. I don't remember which edition it was.
Okay.
I remember seeing this lady leading a song, a Martha Muniz song.
Yeah, that was me. What? Wow. I didn't expect you to come up with that. Yeah. Glorious. That's the title of the song.
Yeah.
Yo.
So you see, I've been around.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
And you're sitting here years after.
Wow. Right. So that was the first time you saw me?
I think so.
Oh.
I
Oh,
think
well,
that was
that's a
the
long
first.
time
Yeah,
ago.
I was producing that video at the CCB.
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember you from that event. I remember Prince, a champion from that event.
Yes,
I
yes.
remember Echan,
Yes.
and Ekia
Yes.
from that event as well. So you're all big stars today. So so you see, I've been around.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
And then I think Sasa was the next place I saw you.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Sasa, you were doing spoken word. And then Explo Nights. You did spoken word, some opening spoken word. I don't know whether I remember.
Oh, I've done a couple of those. I don't remember all of
Yeah,
them.
Explo Nights. There was one Explo Night
Yeah.
at CCB.
Was it CCB or Great Hall?
Was it CCB? No, it was CCB.
Okay, then
Yeah,
it's not the one I'm thinking.
yeah,
Okay.
it was CCB. Maybe you did another one in the Great Hall. I
Yeah, I
wasn't
did.
around.
I
Yeah.
can't forget that one because I had people follow me out of the hall for that one. It was like, wow, really? Was that God? Sometimes I'm shocked because I don't know. I guess because I don't know, man. Maybe I don't because of the demand I put on myself to be extra excellent and how in my eyes I somehow always fall short. I don't expect the response I get many times. The response is like, I'm like, really? Wow, glory to God, because if I was supposed to mark myself, I have a long way to go. But yeah, we thank God.
I get it.
Yeah.
We're talking about your Great Hall experience after people were coming for autographs.
Oh, I mean, they didn't ask for autographs, but
I'm
like,
just kidding. I'm just
yeah,
the autograph equivalent of students. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think sometimes um, for people of highly gifted people, sometimes we don't see what we carry as something special. Not that we don't see it as something special. We don't see it as a big deal. In a way, it's like we are so excellent naturally. Like we wake up and we are excellent. Whatever we do is excellent.
Yeah.
So when somebody is complimenting, it's like, what is he talking
It's
about?
normal
We have to
stuff.
pinch ourselves to wake up to the compliment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I get that sometimes. Sometimes somebody will give a compliment, then later I'll go like, that was a compliment.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you, thank you,
that's true.
thank you.
Yeah,
But on it by default, I'm like, I do this every
it's
day.
normal stuff.
Why? So I get you. But what are some of the insecurities you had um, when you began singing, and how did you work your way out, or are still working your way out of them?
That's a very good question. Honestly, yes, I'm still very, 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 very much working my way out. With the insecurities, I've always been told I sound like a child. And many times, actually, this is the deepest my voice has been since I've known myself. My voice was way lighter than this. And and if you hear my previous songs, like older songs, you'd realize that. And people who knew me in university actually say, "Oh, Biz Kakrabim." They say that when they hear me now, but it's hard to be taken seriously when you sound childlike, and that I used to wish my voice was deeper. Like when I hear girls singing with deeper voice, I'm like, wow, so beautiful, but it wasn't me. I'm not the one doing it. That it's, thanks to genetics, and because I had just started singing, and I'm still learning, and even though my voice is still a little childlike, I think it's more mature than it was before. So yes, I also didn't know how to listen to myself. I think because of the fact that I was conscious that I sound a little some way. At a point when I hear myself, I'd be like, nah, is that how I sound like it? Because that's not how I hear it in my head. And they're like, yeah, that's you. We can never miss your voices, definitely. And I'm like, so I did not like to listen to myself. And I think I was telling you the last time that was Kumsin who helped me. I remember that time they finished, was it Love Experience? Love something. There's this thing that Jometal used to do when we were on campus. And Kumsin sat me down and made me listen to my voice over and over again. So I have to thank him for that. And because when you listen to yourself, you have the opportunity to improve, in a more specific way than just general. Oh, let's practice, let's do vocal training. Yes, but so listening to myself was a challenge. Also, watching myself is a challenge. The Lord is on my side, but it's just weird for me to watch myself on the screen. Sometimes if I do a production, I don't go back to watch it. But the Lord is on my side. It's helping me. Wow. Yes, I think the biggest insecurity I had was how my voice sounded like, and yes, it's a work in progress. So, and on understanding that there is purpose in everything that God has given me is one big part of the growth process that has helped me, because God will not make me look the way I look for nothing, or sound the way I sound for nothing. I've had very strange experiences. Very strange. Like if I tell you how strange, you wouldn't believe it. Where just for God to answer a question or give me clarity on something, He'd make children call me. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. I know that everything has a purpose. And even if it was coming without a purpose, the purpose will be found in its happenstance. And to give me clarity on the fact that I will be working with children, I would be there, and for the whole day, I'll have over 11 calls from random children. When I ask them where they are from, this one says, oh, I am in Boku. This one says, I'm in Eastern region, I'm here, and I'm like, how did you get my number? Oh, I can see your number on my TV screen. I'm like, how? Which TV station? They're like, I bring me Nemo, I don't know, and those things. And when I say, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number, and then they'll call me back, and then they would say, I want to be your friend. And I say, why? I like the way you talk. So sometimes they think they're talking to a child, and it's too weird for me. And sometimes I end the call and my heart is beating like, what's this? This is too strange for me. But I know that there's work for me to do this. So every time I get the chance to be with children, I know I have to save their soul. I have to give them Christ. It doesn't even matter where I am. Sometimes when I go to the hospital with my mom, it's always one weird thing. My mom will look at me and laugh. Every time you see the children just walking to me, I'm like, and one day one woman came and said, you have a pure soul. I say, no, una sabi with pure soul, something that God is helping. I beg you, I don't know what this is. I don't know what it is. It's not pure soul. It's God trying to send me a signal of something He told me. And they have different, what do you call it? Interpretations. Thank you, of the things they see. But for me, I just know it's confirmations most of the time of what God has told me. And there's always purpose in it all. And however quirky it might look, that you have something, or you're not as this or that, or you don't have this or you don't have that, and by virtue of the way God made you just have to understand. When you understand that there's purpose in it, you won't worry.
Wow.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have a pure soul.
Wow.
Whether you like it or not.